For joining us today. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about some of the strategies our customers have shared with us around how they're driving productivity for their end users with dynamic forms. I'm Elizabeth Martin. I'm a product manager for the Records Experience teams. These teams are responsible for managing the Records UI components and data providers across the Salesforce product suite. As part of that, they're responsible for dynamic forms, so I'm excited to talk to you about that today.
Hi, I'm Brinkal Janani, and I'm the product manager of your favorite builder, the Lightning App Builder. And I'm excited to show you how dynamic forms and dynamic visibility rules empower you to improve the end user experience.
So I just want to start off by thanking you for coming here today. All of the feedback that you provide and continue to provide as you engage with us helps us make our products better and more relevant for your use cases. Just a quick forward-looking statement. We're going to cover mostly currently available functionality today, so you don't need to worry about this too much, but make sure to make any purchasing decisions based on currently available product. And then last thing before we dive in, we would love to get your feedback to make sure that we continue to share relevant content. If you catch this now, great, but if you miss it, don't worry, because I'll bring this up again at the end of the session. With that, let's go ahead and dive in. The Salesforce platform is a fantastic platform to grow with your organization. It's extremely flexible in allowing you to build out workflows and custom solutions to meet all of your organization's unique needs. You can design all of this. You can design your custom data model with low-code tools, and you can scale on our platform with confidence. Sometimes the flexibility that Salesforce provides can come with a cost, however. As we speak to some of our customers who have been customers for a long time and have built a lot into the platform over time, we start to see that responding and affirming every single user request that comes in can start to add a lot of complexity to the page. Over time, some of our admins that we speak with may not even necessarily remember why they've added in certain things. There's sections of fields that they're not sure why they're relevant, but they're not sure if they can take them off. This complexity can start to be a barrier to adoption for your end users. They come into Salesforce and they might want to get something done really quickly, but they could find it difficult to find the information they're looking for or the field that they want to update. That ends up in reducing the overall adoption, and you end up getting stale data as a result.
And the problem is even bigger on mobile, right? We all are aware about the power of mobile platform and the opportunity it gives us to get work done from anywhere, right? But think about this, if the desktop experiences are just copied and shrunk for mobile, it ain't right. We have heard you. We have heard that each of your customers or your end users are frustrated with the long page scroll times and like infinite scrolling. So, and it's a barrier to adoption. The best way to fix that challenge is to provide a good user experience. And I'm excited to show you some ways you can tackle that challenge.
Dynamic forms is one of the ways that you can help solve these challenges. Dynamic forms has been a long-standing idea exchange item. The original idea had over 120,000 points, and subsequent related ideas have gathered over 200,000 points. So it's one of the biggest asks from our customers. In the Winter 24 release, we're excited to announce that it's now GA on all LWC-enabled standard objects and mobile devices. So this is hundreds of additional objects that we've now enabled with dynamic forms. If you're not familiar with dynamic forms, what it allows you to do is manage the fields that show up on the page from directly within Lightning App Builder. So you no longer have to manage your layout in two separate places, in App Builder and the Setup menu. You can now manage it all in one place. And you can also start to break up your layout. So rather than having one single monolithic component, you can break up your field sections into different tabs or different sections on the page. On top of that, it allows you to add conditional visibility rules. The result of this is you can make sure your end users are seeing the right information at the right time without additional mental overhead. On top of everything else, we've heard from our customers that it's key for no-code implementations. It allows them to retire custom components, and it also improves performance. Now, in the spring release, we ran a Dynamic Forms on Mobile pilot, and I had the opportunity to speak to some of our largest customers at that time about the challenges that they were solving Dynamic Forms with. Today, we're going to walk through 3 examples of those challenges, all directly from those customer conversations I had earlier this year. The first example we're going to walk through is just the simple thing of having mobile-specific layout, so having a simplified, streamlined experience on mobile.
The next example is a powerful example which will show you how to create a dynamic page based on a user's profile.
And then the last example that we'll walk through is dynamically updating the fields that show on a page throughout a process, depending on what stage of a process you might be in. Let's go ahead and jump into that first example, the tailored layouts on mobile. Now, when we initially had that pilot and I spoke to some of our customers around what they were doing prior to having Dynamic Forms on mobile, I was actually really surprised to find that some of our customers had custom-built components with the sole purpose of providing a smaller number of fields. So they had these completely custom components that nothing else than like 4 or 5 fields that they could show on mobile rather than having the 25 or 30 fields that they show on that same record on desktop. They were really excited that Dynamic Forms is now going to allow them to retire those components. Some of our other customers that I spoke with really saw this as a key for mobile adoption. When you have a simplified layout on mobile and your users are seeing things that are relevant to their job and their role, they're more likely to log in and update that data and keep your data fresh. Let's jump into a demo to see what this looks like. Now we're going to demo on the asset object today. This is one of the newly enabled objects as of the Winter 24 release. Before we jump in and start editing the page, though, we're going to have to enable Dynamic Forms on mobile from the setup menu. There's some mobile functionality that this will turn off, so that's why we have it as an opt-in right now. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and edit this page in the Lightning App Builder. Now this record currently has the record detail component. It's really easy to upgrade this to Dynamic Forms. All we need to do is select the existing component, and we're going to get that upgrade button on the right-hand side, and it will walk us through a wizard to upgrade the component to Dynamic Forms. This is going to bring in all of our existing layout, and then we can go and add additional fields from there using that palette on the left-hand side. Now, one of the things that we've heard from our users is that this service information section isn't relevant on mobile. So we can now set a conditional visibility rule based on device type. We're going to set it so that it only shows up on desktop. This is just a simple example, but you can imagine building out this out further for an entire page. Let's go ahead and save this and go back to Lightning App Builder and see it on desktop. If we scroll down, we'll see that the service information section is showing up on desktop. Now let's jump over to the mobile device. We're now on that same asset record, and if we scroll down, we can see that the service information section is not showing up on mobile. Again, just a simple example, but you can imagine how powerful this could be. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Brinkle for our next example.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now that we've seen the mobile use case, let's kick it up a notch, right? We have heard from customers that many customers create multiple layouts for different user profiles. Now, if you think about it, it's a maintenance overhead. So many layouts, so many Lightning pages. So in order to make it simpler, our customers have also suggested that by setting rules on Lightning pages using profiles, make their life much more simpler. So I'll walk you through a demo which will show you exactly how to do that. So going back to the demo, we are looking at the asset record homepage that we used for the first demo. We'll jump right back into Lightning App Builder. Once it loads, you guys can observe that there are tons of fields on this page. Now, if you think about it and if you look at the sections over there, it doesn't make any sense for a service user to see the sales information. So why don't we fix it? The way to fix it is we'll create a rule on sales information which will make sure this information only shows up for the most relevant profile, which is the sales profile. And as you can see, it's really easy to do that. You can go to user profile, choose the name, and then say if the name contains sales, then show me the sales information. And while we are at it, let's fix it even further. There's also a service information section which is only available on desktop, and we want to make sure that this information only appears for the service users. So we'll do something similar. Where we'll go ahead and set a rule and say show this only for the service users. Once that's done, let's go ahead and save the page, and let's view the page as Kevin from sales department. So we are viewing the page as Kevin would view for the sales department, and if you scroll down, you will see he only sees the most relevant information which is most relevant for his job. And now we'll switch over to view the page, the exact same page as Emma from service, and you'll see she'll only see fields which are important to her, and we have decluttered the UI and making them, and this will make them more productive. With this, I'll hand over to Elizabeth for our final example.
Thanks, Sprinkle. For our last example, I'm going to talk about tailoring the layout based on where someone is in a process. Now, there are a number of ways you can do this, right? There are a number of different tools. You have Flow available. There are other ways you can update a layout based on a process. What we've heard from our customers as they were going through the pilot earlier this year is that they like dynamic forms for certain use cases because it allows their users to jump around. They're not stuck in a single linear flow. They can jump around and edit different information on the record, yet the information that's showing up is only the information that's relevant for them at a specific point in time. This is also a very performant way to do that. So it's not a heavy kind of custom component. It's more performant than other possible ways to tailor a layout based on process. Let's go ahead and jump into a demo and see how this will look in action. We are going back to this asset record. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of this lightning record page now. But now we're going to think about that status path at the top of the screen. So right now we can see it's set to status equals purchased. And there are certain fields that are going to be relevant at that time. For example, the shipping information section. This is a section that's used to plan the shipment. What is the date that it's going to be sent? What is the installation date and time? It's going to be relevant as you're planning, but it's not going to be relevant after you've already installed it. So we're going to set it so it only shows up when the status is set to purchased. The next section that we will look at is the uptime and availability section. Now, this asset in this example hasn't been installed yet, so this section isn't relevant yet. We're going to set it so this section only shows up when the asset has been installed. Now that we've done that, let's jump back and look at our lightning record page and see this in action. Now it's currently set to purchased, so if we scroll down, we can see the shipping information section, so we can plan our shipment. And once we move this to the installed state after it's been installed, if we scroll down, we can see we now see the uptime and availability section, and we don't see the shipping information section anymore as it's not relevant. Again, a simple example, but just trying to illustrate so you can kind of apply this out to your use cases.
Now that you have seen 3 great examples, an important question: how do you get started? The good news is, as of winter 24, Dynamic Forms is GA on standard objects and on mobile, so you can get started today on your sandbox orgs and pre-release orgs.
And that's all we have for you. Thank you so much for coming. We have a few more minutes for questions, so if anyone wants to come up, Brinkle and I will be up here. And as we're doing that, I'm going to leave the feedback slide up so you can go ahead and share your feedback for this session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. We would love to get your opinion on this content, so please leave us some feedback on the comments section below. If you did like this content, give that like button a tap. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the Salesforce Admins YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about being a Salesforce admin in general, head on over to admin.salesforce.com. Thanks again.